I have my army jacket on, all black. Black on black on black is what I'm wearing. I'm sitting in my vehicle in the dark, and I'm watching passersby. It's cold, but I'm not complaining because it's what I signed up for. After 9/11, I actually welcome it. I accept it. My grandmother's from the mountains. Genetically, I'm from a relatively northwestern place. Though I didn't grow up in the extreme cold of the East Coast, I have lived in extreme weather conditions on the West Coast. I have no heat on, no AC. I'm in the dark in terms of sitting here in my position in my vehicle. I could turn on the vehicle with this key. But you know what? Even though the alarm is armed and I have cameras on with sensors and I have 3 computers monitoring the current internet of this timeline, actually 4 technically, I don't really need to turn on the heat, and here's why. At my age, of all the media that I've ever seen, observed, I was rejuvenated in this past week and a half. I saw the documentary of Colton Harris Moore from Camano Island. I'm from Washington State myself, the Pacific Northwest, Puget Sound. And tonight, a few minutes ago, I was on the phone with my team, 495L4. 495. I'm not saying 495L4, but I'm saying 495 is now a private military company. We specialize in counterterrorism. It's what we do. I did so much dirt in my lifetime. I realized that I had to do something good for society to counterbalance it all out. That's right. I don't go out, I don't judge, I don't go through neighborhoods and say, hey, look, man, you're doing this, you're doing that, this is wrong. I'm not a preacher. That would be well, I shouldn't even say my dad because my dad's a mobster. That's not what I mean, but he also has a theological degree, theological studies. Yeah, so my dad is a mobster because he is. I lived in Chicago. I've lived all over. I've been all over. My dad was in the military. My mother was in the military. They were soldiers. My dad was in Vietnam. I'm not going to go into details, but the point is this. When I saw the Colton Harris Moore documentary, I had heard of the Barefoot Bandit, and I'd seen bits and pieces of information here and there, but when it came into full scope, full focus, I was rejuvenated. I have relatives who have lived on Camano Island. I've been to every island in the state of Washington State. Orcas, Friday Harbor, Oak Harbor, San Juan Islands, Vashon, Bainbridge. I mean, you name it. And what Colton Harris Moore did, though, he broke into people's personal establishments, commercial and other, and that was wrong. We did the same thing. I'm just simply saying that, like, it's not right, but in terms of the extraordinary circumstances and nature of what took place, it doesn't excuse crimes, but I've been following the story for a long time, and I have screenshots from Russia Today when he was on camera. I don't want to say that he was captured. In my view, he was never actually captured. He was never actually captured. He was never captured by U.S. intelligence. He evaded. Spoiler alert. There's a 1 hour, 18-minute long documentary, The Legendary Barefoot Bandit. And what I'm saying is that it's my professional opinion that he was never actually, ever caught per se. And when you watch, if you do, the 118-minute, 1 hour, rather, 18-minute long documentary on real crime stories, the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes is not how he was actually, air quotes, captured. Because he talks about that, I believe it was on Cairo News or Como, one of the two. I want to go with Cairo. Don't quote me on that. But the point is that he dispels that myth, and that's not actually how it took place. So the point is that the story is ongoing. And the point is, in the spirit of Colton Harris Moore, someone who's from where I'm from, I've seen a lot of media in my lifetime. I'm not 50 years old, but I'm very close. And I have to say, it's the raddest shit I've ever seen in my lifetime. I believe that he meant no harm and that he had no ill intentions. And I just looked up the Robert Ludlum series of Jason Bourne. And I saw when Jason Bourne was created in the 1980s. I do truly believe that somehow, whether Robert Ludlum understood it or not, I'm not saying he was a remote viewer. I'm assuming he wasn't, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't. I do believe that Jason Bourne, though, his identity is slightly different. I believe that he was channeling, I believe this, he was channeling Colton Harris Moore. I mean, I'm one Sir Grove, and I mean that fucking seriously. Real shit. Colton Harris Moore, spoiler alert, he was never really caught. Not really. Not really. Did he give himself up? I don't even want to say that he gave himself up. I think he just proved that he beat all U.S. intelligence, Delta Forces warfighters, all personnel on the ground, agents, law enforcement, sworn and otherwise, vigilant citizens, watchdog groups, organizations in the community, skip tracers, bounty hunters, local law enforcement, state, federal, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security. He beat them all, man. He wasn't really ever honestly, truly caught, in my opinion. And apparently the last 10 minutes when he went on record, he said it didn't happen the way that is depicted in the final 10 minutes of the presentation that's 1 hour, 18 minutes long. I'm simply saying it's the raddest shit I've ever seen. I can't use another word to describe it. It's the raddest shit I've ever seen in my lifetime. In my professional opinion view, at this point, at this juncture, Colton Harris Moore is, in fact, indeed, truly the incarnation of Jason Bourne. I know that sounds outrageous, perhaps to some far-flung and far-fetched, but keep in mind, he was never caught by U.S. intelligence, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, TSA, any agency of the United States government. And when he was out of country, the only reason he was ever, air quotes, caught, spoiler alert, is because he really wasn't ever truly fucking caught. He just showed the world that he had achieved that creme de la creme level ranking of having achieved and accomplished the accolades and feats that he did. I'm saying all crimes aside, he evaded the United States intelligence community and in that context was never caught. He was not caught by U.S. intel. And when he was, again, for emphasis, air quotes, caught, he wasn't really caught. He didn't even really honestly turn himself in. He just kind of said, look, I beat you stupid fucking scums. I beat you dirty motherfuckers. Maybe those aren't the words that he used in his mind, in his internalization of it all. But he did. He beat the United States tyrannical government. powers that be that were looking for him, and private groups, organizations, bounty hunters that amassed on Camino Island and other parts of the Puget Sound looking for him. They couldn't find him. They never did. The raddest shit I've ever seen in my lifetime, man. And seeing what I saw in that documentary and that presentation, it's like going to a revival. I was revitalized. And it means a lot to me, man, because not only am I from there, and not only have I been to Camino Island, his feats are insurmountable. They really, truly, honestly are, because there was never anyone before him like that. And it's a stretch of the imagination to think that there would ever be anyone like him after that in the next 100 years. I'm just simply being honest. I'm One Sir Gorilla. Thanks for tuning in to C4CW, casting 495 celebrities worldwide.